everybody, welcome to my March wrap up. I'm sorry for the bit of a delay on getting it up. I had family for Easter, and before that I had to obviously get organized for everybody coming, etc. And this is the Monday that I'm filming this, so yeah, I have my wrap up ready to rock and roll for you guys. I have read a bunch of books, some average, some above average, and I also excitingly got a advanced reader copy of an indie book, which I'm super excited to share with you all, as well as obviously the other books that I have read. In April wrap up onwards, I am going to add in like a picture or something of my TBR and what I actually read from that TBR. So from April onwards that will happen, just to say like this is how many I've read of what I had on my TBR, etc. Unfortunately I don't have a photo of what was on my March TBR, so I can't start it this month. But I have seen a bunch of other YouTubers do that at the start of their wrap-ups and wanted to add it into my own, because I always like seeing what people have actually read off their TBRs, and wanted to add that into my own videos. So that will happen from April onwards, and I apologise for not doing it this month and in past months. Yeah, so I've taken like a photo of my April TBR, so I'll do it somehow for that. But let's chat about the books that I've read in March and the month that we had as a reader. I started off reading my most anticipated, well, one of my most anticipated books for the year, which was Half City by Kate Golden. This was a first read by this author. I know she has a fantasy series, another fantasy series out. But I wanted to start with this one because it was like Demon Hunter vibes. It's going around. People saying that it has like Buffy kind of vibes, that kind of thing. It's also academia based, like academy based, and I ate this up. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was really good. I'm really big on vampire shows and books, and yeah, Buffy is definitely one of my favorites, in Angel and all that kind of stuff. So I loved this. There is going to be a second book which is releasing later in the year, so I think it's October. So I'll definitely be out there hunting for that in October when it comes out. But this one, definitely have a read. It was awesome. I gave it 5 stars. I'm not sure if I put any quotes in particular in here. I just said it was exciting, entertaining, and I was on the edge of my seat, and the book actually left on a cliffhanger, so I'll have to, when the other one comes out, like read the ending again and stuff. I popped it under a couple of my challenges that I'm doing. A published book in 2026 for my fantasy challenge, and the letter H for my fantasy A to Z as well. I didn't have any particular quotes, but I just said I loved it. OMG is an amazing read. It left on a cliffhanger, so definitely gonna read the second book. And Demon Hunter greatness, and I definitely recommend it very much. So that was definitely a fun read. I then read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. I loved The Night and the Moth last year, which was a first read by this author, and I've had this duology on my TBR for pretty much since I started reading. So I finally got to this one. I loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I actually have 2 Twisted Crowns on my TBR for April, so hopefully I get to it very soon to finish the duology and find out the rest of the story, of course. There was a few challenges that I managed to tick off. It was part of my 26 books to read in 2026, so I ticked there. It was a book published in fantasy before 2026, and it was also the letter O in my Fantasy A to Z challenge as well. Yeah, so I just said it was finally nice to get to the book. It was a very interesting world and storyline, and I do enjoy the author's writing, so yeah. Couple of great reads to start, and then we continued on strongly with great reads because I got really exciting news. I actually got a advanced reader copy of a author that I love in the indie world. Her name is M.L. Jewell, and she has a series called the Dakura Chronicles, and I managed to get an art copy of Revenge of the Witches, which is the 3rd book in that series, and the last one as well. I loved the first 2, gave them both 5 stars. The last one, the arc that I got, I gave it 4.5 stars, so it's still really good. And it was really nice to have that honor to read it, so thank you to the author for letting me do that. I ticked it off the A to Z Fantasy Challenge for the letter R and an indie author for my fantasy challenge, and I just said a big thank you to the author for giving me an art copy to read. It was greatly appreciated. It was an entertaining addition to the series, and I definitely recommend this author, and definitely check it out when it comes out. I will just check the date for you because it is very soon that it does come out. Just gotta turn to the correct part of my journal. I need some more markers in here because yeah, it gets a bit fiddly. So it comes out in April the 17th. So yeah, keep your eye out. It's very soon. And the second one to Half City, which is called Curse City, comes out October the 18th. So yeah, make sure you check those ones out. I'm just looking to a quick review section for our next book. So the next one I read was A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire by Sarah Harley. This is a author that I haven't read before from, and it's a book that I've had for quite a while. I gave this one 3 stars, so it was okay. It was yeah, it was just an average read, a fun read. And yeah, obviously I'm just reading everything vampire themed, so yeah. The one that I picked up for book club for March was Not Safe for Work by Nisha Tully. Yeah, so this was the romance pick for the month of March. I had already read the fantasy read for March, which was Dungeon Crawler Carl. I read that last year. So I already gave that one a 5-star last year, and am obviously reading the rest of the series during this year. But this one was the romance one, and I gave this 3 stars. It was another average read. I just think it was the writing of it that threw me a bit, and also the story. It just wasn't for me, kind of thing. But I gave it a shot. It was okay. The next one that I did was the next book in the Crowns and the Axia series, book 2 of the Shadowboard duet. This was the one that came out last year, The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. I have been eating up and loving this Crucible Red series. I'm just going to flick to where I reviewed it, just to check my rating. Yeah. So I gave it 5 stars. I can pop it on with the display shelf now and, yeah, pop it with my other ones, which will be fun. Yeah, so 5 stars. I popped it as a vampire read in my fantasy reading challenge that I have. And yeah, I did this by Audible actually. I have been doing them by Audible because I just love the guy's voice. It's very deep and very, I don't know, I just, yeah, love the writers that do it. The female is really good as well. She's pretty entertaining. Yeah, and I believe there's another one coming out this year as well. Let me just check the date for it. It's called The Lion and the Deathless Dark. It comes out in August the 4th. So yeah. So I'm kind of up to date with that one, so I can, while I'm waiting for the next one, I can just read other stuff obviously. And I finally got to Dance With Me by Alison A. Andrews. This is part of the Circle of Friends series by this author. Alison A. Andrews is one of my favourite indie authors who I met in 2025. And this one I gave 3 stars. It was alright. I just didn't meld with the story very much, I guess. But yeah, it was still a good one. I think it was the characters as well. I didn't really blend greatly with those, but I always love in this series how it links to Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. And yeah, it is a good series. This one I just kept pushing aside for a lot of other reads because, as you guys know, there's tons of books to read. But yeah, finally did it in March, which is great because I have now finished that series off and up to date with all that author stuff. So yeah, that was March's books. Some great reads and some average reads, but overall a good month. I am obviously reading my April reads now. So when the time comes for that wrap up, I will obviously do that. But before that, we are going to go on some shopping sprees. I'm not sure if I'll film when I do those things, but if I do, I do. If I don't, I'll just do like a whole video. And we might do some little libraries soon as well because I have recently cleared out my shelves and I haven't sold everything, so I can, yeah, go around and do another little library run and donate and stuff. Have a look. So yeah, at least there's a couple of things coming up. And then obviously my next TBR and wrap up video as well. Thank you for joining me today. I greatly appreciate all of you watching, and yeah, subscribe for more awesome videos. I'll catch you all very, very soon. Bye.